Ladies and gentlemen, you once again welcome to another episode of the Kingdoms podcast. And I have with me the fighter, the legend, Markus Suarez. How are you, Mark?
What's up, man? Pleasure to have you on me here, man. It's an honor.
Oh, wow, wow, interesting. You are just, getting back from a training session. Tell us about it. You're just like the Navy SEAL right now.
Right now, I feel like a Navy SEAL. We just finished doing a 2 hour deep end fitness training, which is intense military training underwater, in and out, swimming underwater, on top of water. A lot of holding the breath, increasing the heart rate while in the water. Of course, you cannot breathe underwater, so you gotta relax, stay calm. The oxygen has to go into your chest, and you feel like you're gonna drown, but you're not gonna drown. You're not gonna die. And again, you get out of there feeling brand new.
Wow, wow. So how does this fitness regimen, how does this training help you? How does it translate into, the toughness in the cage, when fighting?
Oh man, again, the cardio, the stamina, the endurance, the calmness of the mind, because you can have all the cardio you want, but if you don't know how to control the mind
Mm,
panics. And when the mind panics, your breathing panics. And when your breathing panics, guess what happens? Everything goes down the drain. Everything you trained for, you didn't really train for nothing. So first is mental toughness, then your cardio.
wow, interesting. So whenever I have people on the pod, right, I like to know about their childhood, because that is how it all started. So for you, what was childhood like for you and you're growing up?
Childhood was tough. I'm gonna be 37 next week on the 13th. So a lot of
Wow.
people,
Happy
yeah,
birthday in advance.
thank you. A lot of people say that I'm fighting at a late age, and I understand fighting at my age is very hard and complicated. Um,
Mhm.
but again, coming here from Miami, Florida, it was hard. I didn't have a father. I have a father, but we didn't raise with my father, who was in Colombia. My mother was always a hardworking mom. And to be raised in the streets with had to read to look at the older kids and see how they do it, and again leading to a bad lifestyle, gangs, street life, drugs, all that bad stuff. And I had to be raised in the streets of Miami, man. So I didn't have a
Interesting.
good childhood.
Oh wow, wow. But then you did have some people you looked up to in your childhood. So who were those people who you would say you looked up to and they shaped the human being that you are today?
Well, I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't look up to the best role models. There was some bad
Mm.
people I did look up to, a lot of bad influences. But as I started slowly getting into the um, slowly started getting to the fight world as I got older, I had idols. I Fedor Emelianenko, Mark Hunt, which I talked to
Oh
today.
wow.
Yes, Mark Hunt, I talked to today. We get in contact through Instagram and all that. He has my number, and I would look up to these guys because Mark Hunt was a heavy set guy, and I was always a chubby kid, and I was always bullied, and I was like, whoa, man, look at him knocking out people, and he's, and then it gave me
Uh,
kind of a way of like I could fight too. I don't have to be fully in shape, and that's where I started to get into fighting at a young age.
Interesting. Mark Hunt is a heavyweight. You are a middleweight, right?
Well, back then I was a heavyweight. I started my career in MMA as a heavyweight. Definitely no guidance, no amateur fighting, just straight to the professionals. And I
Wow.
was yeah, I was fighting older men, and I was just a kid, and I got hurt and I got knocked out, broken over the bone, fractured spine. It set me back years, but I had to learn the hard way into the fighting game.
Oh, wow. So tell us, how did you transition into the fighting game? How did you get into fighting? Because a lot of fighters say fighting literally saved their lives. Would you say that as well?
Yeah, of course. Again, I was bullied in school. I was fat, I was always a chubby kid,
Mm.
and starting in elementary and in middle school, I was always made fun of, and I would come home crying to my mom, and mom didn't know how to help me because she doesn't know how to, be teach me how to be a man, and again, I will find ways into like how can I defend myself, how can I protect myself, fighting. I started watching MMA. I started watching kickboxing. I started watching all these things that I'm like, if I can do that, I can defend myself, and uh, stuff like that I was started to watch and research. And I signed up to a gym. I think when I was 15 years old, 16 years old, better said, and I started training since then. MMA,
Mm.
jiu-jitsu, judo, Muay Thai, kickboxing, wrestling. I'm well trained in all aspects of martial arts. Now that I'm 37 years old.
Oh wow. Definitely with age comes a lot of experience, right?
Yes.
A lot of fighters talk about how bullying inspired them to take up, fighting. Even someone like Israel Adesanya, right? He talked about how he was bullied in school. So Joe Rogan was talking about something about bullying sometime, and he was like, there's this way to actually help curb bullying. Like if you taught all children, all kids how to fight, especially the bullies, right? If you teach bullies how to fight, they wouldn't want to bully other people. It seems counterintuitive or counterproductive, but do you think that actually works? Because a lot of bullies actually are victims of, self-esteem issues.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that, with what he says. My son, he's 7 years old and he's been training since he was six, boxing. And again, it teaches him to teach other kids. And when he has younger kids, he'll teach them. And it's a way of not bullying somebody and not letting yourself get bullied, because
Mm,
you actually learn how to defend yourself at an early age. You know how to hit somebody in the face if you feel threatened. And my son is a prime example of that. And bullying, it's a way that people start looking into ways of how to defend themselves. And it's like, enough is enough. It sucks being bullied, man. And I know there's a lot of no tolerance now in schools now, but parents nowadays, don't choose violence. Don't choose violence. But if you don't choose violence, so how are you gonna have your kid protect themselves? Sometimes you have to choose violence. Sometimes you have to step on people's necks, and it's not actually step on necks, but you have to stand on business. You know,
standing up business.
stand on business, baby. Stand on business.
Oh, wow, interesting. So speaking of standing on business, right? At what point in your life did your self-confidence, change after getting into fighting, right? At
Oh,
what point did you become like self-confident? Because it takes time to be able to overcome that trauma of, being bullied. So at what point in your life would you say, yeah, you were able to gain that self-confidence and, put the past behind you?
I love this question, man, because I train a lot of amateur guys, and it always seems cool to fight, and I'm gonna train 2 or 3 years to fight. And man, listen, I've been training for over 20 years. Okay, it takes years. It takes years of going through your ups and downs. Again, I started building up my confidence 4 years ago. I'm gonna be 37, and I've been training for 20
Mm,
years, right? So
wow.
yeah, my confidence was never there. I knew how to do this and do that, but it wasn't really until I started doing years and years and years of the same thing where I started to build up confidence. I lost my weight. I got into really good health. And it's a lifestyle. It's something that you live with. It's not something like, oh, I'm gonna do this for 6 months. Oh, I'm gonna do this for 6 weeks. No, no, no. You need to live like this for the rest of your life, or you need to live like this for as long as you can, and train every day and eat clean every day and do good every day. And slowly but surely, you start adapting the self confidence. You start knowing what you can do. You start knowing how you can help your community, how you be a better person for your loved ones, your family, your kids. It's just an overall being a better person. It's not just being a
Mm.
better fighter. It's a confidence of overall of life.
Interesting. Consistency is key. Consistency is important in this game, right? You remind me of Jared Cannonier. He was a heavyweight, right? He came into the UFC as a heavyweight, and then at some point he dropped down to light heavyweight, and then dropped down to middleweight. So you also started as a heavyweight, right? Now dropping, right? Um, what was it you had to incorporate into your lifestyle, right? Being that overweight kid, right from your younger age and dropping those pounds over the years, right? What was it, nutrition, exercise, like how were you able to achieve, you know, coming from being overweight into being what you are today?
Well, again, my health. I was borderline diabetic. I was having a lot
Wow.
of health problems. I came to a point where I was addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs, addicted to a certain bad lifestyle where I was already thinking, wow, what example am I giving my daughter? What example am I giving my son?
Mm,
What am I contributing to society? I'm nothing but a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And
mm,
just knowing the fact that I wasn't good at nothing sparked a fire inside of me. And again, 2 years ago, I didn't know where I was gonna be now. This has all been something that's been happening time after time. Like I lost the weight, I was running, but I didn't know I was gonna fight again. I had no idea I was gonna be in bare knuckle fighting championships. So I
mm.
lost the weight. I knew I hooked up with a nutritionist. The nutritionist helped me learn how to eat because I did not know how to eat because food is addictive, especially in this country. Food, everything's addictive. It's worse than drugs.
God bless America.
Yeah, right. Everything's addictive. She taught me how to eat. Then I started to lift weights and build muscle because I was so fat that I didn't have any muscle. I was so
Mm,
skinny. People thought I was sick, so I had to build muscle up there, and from there start training again, retraining myself, reprogramming my mind of everything that I learned in the past. But it was a hard battle, and every day, even to then, it's still every day is a hard battle, and it's what makes life, though. I mean, what would be life if we didn't have any challenges every day? It would be boring,
mm,
right? We wake up, we have a
definitely.
challenge. We wake up and we got to deal with the problems, So again, when every time there's a problem, there's a good guy that says, Jocko. I don't know if you heard of Jocko. He's a military
Jack.
Navy SEAL.
Oh yeah, he's got his own thing on YouTube as well. I think the
he,
Jacko
I,
podcast.
I was
Yeah.
hearing one of
I've,
his stuff, and every time you have a problem, you tell yourself in your mind, good.
mm,
And, oh, I have a problem. Good. Oh, I'm going to good. Let's go through it. Because once you go through that problem, you become a better person mentally and in life.
some people see problems. I see opportunities. You know.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, because with every challenge comes opportunities to be better in life, to be greater. But interestingly, like what word, what message do you have for people out there, who are victims of bullying and are finding a way to gain or to regain their self-confidence in life? What message do you have for them, people watching us right now?
You guys got the message that I have is consistency. A lot of people that are victims of bullies don't have a good foundation of a family household. They don't have a
Mm,
balance of a mom and dad. And sometimes those kids feel stuck. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have the suicide rate so high. And it's sad. It's sad because I try to help everyone, but in reality, you can't help everyone out, right? So my
mm,
message to them is go to your local gym. Go find a nutritionist. I know it's expensive, but if you look for help, people will help you.
mm,
Build a bond in your relationship, work with your community, because all that gives you leverage. You know what I mean? And stay away from the negative. A lot of people like to focus, oh, but they bully me, they bully me. Get over it. Go to the local gym, start training, start living a healthy lifestyle. And there's people out there willing to help you, anybody, not just myself, but there's people out there willing to help you. If you go out there and communicate, don't just because you're getting bullied, don't just stay home and don't do nothing. Do something. Go out there and look for help because there's always somebody out there willing to help.
mm. Interesting. Speaking of doing something right, you were doing MMA before you transitioned into bare knuckle fighting championship. I don't want to talk about bare knuckle right now, right? I want to talk about MMA, right? Yeah, because interestingly, I interviewed David Feldman I think a few months ago, and he spoke about how he gives, a lot of guys the opportunities to transform their lives through the BKFC platform, right? And I have seen yourself and many other great champs out there in BKFC, transforming their lives, right? Contributing to the society, contributing to their community, making positive impact on their families, right? By way of the bare knuckle fighting championship platform. However, we have people from different backgrounds, right? A lot of people transition to BKFC from MMA, some from boxing, some from, other backgrounds. Let's talk about MMA. Like, what was it like for you, getting into MMA? How did you get into MMA? What was the journey like for you before, getting into BKFC?
Well, I got into MMA because it was a growing sport back in 2006, 2005. It was growing. UFC was popping off, the Andre Arlovski, the Tim Sylvias. That was a time where the first Ultimate Fighter was coming out with
Oh,
Forrest,
tough.
yeah,
Forrest Griffith
yeah, of
and
course.
Stephen Bona.
Come on,
You
the
did watch that
legends.
one.
Yeah, so at that time, a lot of people were just, oh, I want to do MMA, and I found a local gym. I signed up with my first coach, John Barrena, and it was Miami Freestyle Fight Club, and that's where we started learning. We started learning the kickboxing, the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, the judo. I had my first sparring session where they broke my nose, and
Oh,
it was
whoa.
fun
Yeah.
because again, it gave me, I was still heavy set, but it gave me some type of confidence. It wasn't the best confidence, but it was like, okay, I'm with a group of guys that is learning a certain amount of martial arts, and we're growing, we're evolving. And again, I didn't know where I was going to end up 20 years down the line, but it was
Mm,
somewhere that I started, and it was fun, because from there they had a security company, and I ended up working in security at nightclubs, and doors opened in life, certain doors open in life. But MMA was very fun. I learned a lot. I mean, till like 3 years ago, I was doing jujitsu and judo and wrestling. I've wrestled with Olympic stars. I have a blue belt in judo. I'm a brown belt in jujitsu. So there's a lot of things that came up from that. I didn't end up using my MMA career too much, but I'm transitioned to that, and I use it as a way of life.
interesting. So, back in your gym, do you are you involved in training the young up and coming athletes?
Yes. I have a lot of prospects, man, a lot of great amateur guys. Christian Romero, Chango, Juanito Hitman Farrell. Um, I got so many good guys ready to bang, man, and they're young potential talents that they talking like champions. They're young, and since then I've gone through my hellholes. I haven't been a champion yet, and I'm probably, I don't know if I will be, but my experience from my past life and everything that I've gone through, I install it into them, and they listen. And they're young, and let me tell you right now, if I don't get to make it, they will.
Hmm.
And
Wow,
that
fantastic.
will be a pleasure watching
Fantastic
them.
mindset. So yeah, fantastic mindset. For me, like I have a background in finance, right? So back in the day, I became a chartered accountant, and then I started uh tutoring people who were taking the examinations to become chartered accountants, right? When I was writing my own exams, like people always thought, oh, you're such a brilliant guy, you should win a prize. But I never won a prize. But then when I started teaching others, right, a good number of my students started winning prizes. And then I was like, no, I never won a prize, but my students, did win prizes. And then I'm proud of that.
Yes, yes. It's a
Yeah.
way of letting you know that something is your passion, and you may have
Mm-hmm.
passion for something you didn't know you have, and
Mm-hmm.
you teaching that passion to somebody else, somebody that really has passion and heart, takes whatever you say to consideration and does what you say, and boom, you're like, wow, I didn't know that whatever I had going on, I explained to them, and they will
Yeah.
blow up,
Yeah, they,
which is a
they can
beautiful
always
thing.
build. Yeah, and it's great to impact, people's lives, especially people with, high potential. You get it, and it's always wonderful to be able to watch people with potentials grow, and that you contributed to, that prospect. It's a really great thing. I've had the opportunity to teach chat with, some coaches as well, right? They're really proud of the athletes that they they churn out from their gyms, and we seeing these athletes go do great things. Speaking of one of them, I think I was speaking with Dewey Cooper when he was in London with Francis Ngannou. You could see the pride in his
Mm.
eyes, seeing Francis Ngannou do great stuff, fighting with AJ, making the mega box and boxing, it's really, really fantastic to see those great things. But for you, how did you get into bare knuckle? How did you get into the BKFC?
Oh man, okay. Well, this is a little story. Bare knuckle. I started watching bare knuckle during COVID, during the whole COVID lockdown thing. We were locked up in the house and we had nothing else to watch.
Wow, COVID changed a lot of people's lives.
Yes, yes, it did.
Wow.
And I got a little frustrated with guys that never trained in their lives before, and will have a 1, 2 fights and think that, oh, I'm a pro fighter. I'm a professional fighter. And I was thinking in my head, wow, I trained my ass off for years. I've been knocked out, I've been in the hospital, I've had surgery. I'm like, you have one fight and you call yourself a professional fighter, and it kind of lit a fire on me, man. I said, nah, nah. So it kind of,
Not under
again,
my watch.
yeah, I was like, nah, you guys are not no pro fighters, man. It takes years. It takes spiritual change, mental change, heart change, everything to actually become something that you didn't know you were gonna become. And I got frustrated at seeing guys talking about, oh, I'm a pro fighter. So again, I started tagging Bare Knuckle FC. I about 2 years ago started tagging them up, and I would post videos of me sparring, of me training, of me shadow boxing, and I didn't know I was gonna be on there. I was really thinking, wow, Bare Knuckle's pretty savage, Bare Knuckle, and I
Mhm.
see these cuts and fists, and like, that's pretty savage, that's pretty barbaric. But at the same time, I kept tagging them. I ended up going to a tryout in Delray Beach, Florida, where I met the president of BKFC, Nelson Lopez Jr. Thanks to him, he we had a great conversation, and he got me on. He got me on until my first fight, which was last year of August 24th of 2023, and that conversation came in July of last year.
Mm.
We were talking. It was after an event, and then he said, "No, Murk, I need you on. I need you on." And I said, "Say less, say less." And from there, it was all things that I have thought about. I manifested certain things and visualized certain things and put action towards my manifestation. And just me by me posting Bare Knuckle FC, I ended up on BKFC.
Wow, interesting stuff, right? It's great to manifest certain things, and see them come through. Bare knuckle fighting, it's pretty much the fastest growing combat sports in the world, and arguably the fastest growing, sport organization in the world. Like, what do you see the organization like achieving in, say, the next, couple of years?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm honest with everybody. I never lie. I don't like fighting, man. I really don't. I really don't, man.
It's just a means to an end for you.
It's very, very, very gruel. It's very rural. It's hard. I always tell to my guys, if you don't have to fight, don't fight. It's
Mm,
dangerous. There's a lot of fighters that never got to see the professional ring. There's a
mm,
lot of careers that ended in training.
mm,
Train people that train their whole lives, and the careers ended in the training session because one back hit in the back of the head and it's over. So
mm,
it's a very dangerous sport. I don't like fighting, but again, it's the only thing. I'm not an educated person. I never finished school. And it's the only thing I know how to do. So it's something that I gotta just do it. I'm already knee deep, and I'm doing it. But yes, it is the fastest growing combat sports in history. They're all over the world. They're gonna have an event now in Japan with Rising. They do fights in Asia. They do fights all over the world. It's crazy. It's really it's insane to be part of a growing company. David Feldman with Conor McGregor. It's really getting big, and I hope my storyline stays with them because I feel like I have a bigger message than just fighting. Isn't everybody wants the belt and the champion? Champion, I want to fight, but I have more than just to be a champion. I have more than just to be fighting. I want to spread my message, my voice to people that need help and help people, inform those that are misinformed.
Wow, interesting. So, speaking of informing those that are misinformed, have you been able to set up a platform to be able to to share your message of hope?
Of course, I've helped a lot of people along my way. I'm a weight loss coach. I've helped a lot of people lose weight. I'm not a nutritionist, but I do help people with their meals and or the way, kind of like a mental coach. Because a lot of people don't have guidance. Like I said, a lot of people don't have that father and the mom figure, or sometimes they do, and the mom and dad don't know how to, be a parents. So I kind of I'm more of a do it like this, get on roll, get your head out of your ass and do it like this. And people tend to wake up. They're like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I coach a lot of people like that. With this platform with BKFC, they have given me an opportunity to grow. Again,
Mm,
when I started BKFC, I only had 2,000 people on my Instagram. Now I'm at
wow,
15,000, and it has
wow.
slowly but surely grown. People have attached to my storyline because I did weigh a maximum of 355 pounds. Was obese, borderline diabetic, and on the point of dying. And people have been attached to that story. People love that story, and again, I'm here to voice it out, to keep on voicing it out. So they put dirt on me.
Wow, wow, wow. Fantastic story. Everybody loves, a story that is, from grass to grace, seeing somebody at the edge and then, coming to make something really, really great out of, the
Oh,
little
and
that
no
you had.
handouts, and no handouts.
Definitely.
No handouts. No, I literally, my father's in Colombia, no father. My mother was a hardworking mom. She never gave me a mother's love. My brothers and sisters, I grew up without them. I literally got it from the dirt up, every single day. A lot of people was like, what did you do? Sometimes I lost recollection of what I did.
Mm,
Sometimes I'm like, I have to think back and sit back. Wow, did I really do that shit? Did I really do all
mm,
that running? Did I do all that drinking water and eating good? Yeah, I did it. I did it. So people need to understand that I got it from the mud. There was no handouts, no help outs. Yeah, certain people helped me get into BKFC, but I got here by myself. There was no team. When I was running, there was nobody behind me. I was running by myself. When I was eating, there was nobody next to me. I was eating by myself. And there's days where I spend it by myself, meditating. And I'm okay with being myself. You know why? Because I love myself. And a lot of people need to learn how to love themselves first before they even spread love anywhere. Because
self love.
when I'm alone in my house, that's one of my best moments because I start meditating. I start looking at myself, looking at everything that I did, and I'm at peace with myself.
Hmm. Hmm. Very, very important. It's important to have that self-love because if you do not love yourself, you can't even love others, properly. But a lot of people do not tend to realize that, peace, comes from within. And interestingly, I have something written on my wall. I don't know if you can see it very well, but then it says beauty and strength come from within. That's the last two lines. Beauty and strength actually come from within. It resonates with, what you say. For you, like what would you say you're really proud of, in terms of how you have impacted, people's lives? Can you share, a story or two of how you have been able to impact somebody's life and you're happy with the progress that you have actually observed from these people?
Yes, of course. An amateur fighter that I have, Juan Hitman Farrell. You can look him up on Instagram. He came from 320 pounds, and
Mm,
he's been training the past 3 years. And when I was getting ready for my fight last year, he was one of my training partners. He was actually the one who got me ready for my sparring fight. Um, and he slowly but surely attached to me for some reason, and it's not just only one person; it's multiple people, almost to one though. And he, people he tend to attach to me, and again, I don't really go. I'm a big introvert. I don't. I stay close into myself. But when somebody starts showing me their passion and starts showing me, hey, Murk, I really like what you're doing, I tend
mm,
to start giving myself to that person. And again, he slowly but surely have evolved into a great man, a great community guy. He's lost a lot of weight. He's actually 150 pounds, and he was at 320 pounds. And I have hit him hard in training, and he don't go down, and he's adapted kind of like the way I live, my lifestyle. And because they're like, yo, what do you do? I'm like, listen, this is all I do. This is literally eat, breathe, and sleep, everything, and he got close to me, and he kind of lives just like me. All we do is train, we work with the community, we eat good, and we're a better person 1% every day. And again, we don't go out there, we don't chase women, we don't chase money, we don't chase cars, we don't chase none of these materialistic things, because that's what it is, materialistic things from this earth that I don't see it happy. I don't see that happiness. The real happiness, like what you say, it comes within. And as long as you have that, I'm already rich. I'm already a champion. I'm already a successful man. I don't need the rest that's coming is inevitable. And people like that. Certain people that really get connected with me, and I just evolve them. Again, I can't motivate somebody. They have to be motivated themselves to be able to hear my story. But once they hear my story, they kind of start, okay, let me see what he does. I've had multiple people stay in my house, and they see how I eat, how I wake up, how I go train. I don't watch TV. I just go train, shadow box. I study boxing films, study fighters, world champions. And that's how it is. People tend to just get close to me. I don't look for nobody.
Hmm. Interesting. So what would you say are challenges that you have faced in your life, right? And they were really tough, but you are really proud or you're grateful that you were able to overcome these challenges. So just for context, you're grateful and you'd love people to learn from those challenges, just so if they're going through anything, they know that, it is always possible to overcome your challenges. So what are those challenges you would, like to share?
Oh man, obesity. Just obesity alone was a hard challenge. Again, food is addictive. Drugs are addictive. People don't know the balance of life, and sometimes it's sad because I really do want to help a lot of people, but people need to respect themselves first and operate at high frequency. If they don't operate at a high frequency, and they don't respect themselves, then they can't really challenge themselves. You know,
Mm,
but my challenges come a lot from my childhood. Just me living a bad lifestyle. I've overcame suicide, I overcame obesity, I overcame depression, I overcame all of these things. Where now I look at, I'm like, wow, I really suffered through all that. Like now I don't really care about none of that stuff. I would never kill myself. I would never go back into obesity. I would never harm myself and be depressed. I don't got time for that. So these are all things that I past them, and there were challenges, and people suffer through them now. But again, you're not alone, man. There's always somebody willing out there willing to help you. And I think I'm proud of myself for even though I'm not proud of it yet, because there's still a lot more I need to accomplish. But I can pat myself in the back saying, Marcus, you did it. I survived. I'm 37 years old, and we're still at it. Because a lot of people don't wake up tomorrow. A lot of people didn't wake up today. A lot of people didn't wake up at 28, 27, 25. I'm 37. So I look at that as a big accomplishment.
Great, 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 great. And of course, I am proud of you, and that's why I'm having this conversation with you today. So, big ups to you, and of course, definitely great, great, greatest stuff, for you ahead in the future. And speaking of greatest stuff ahead in the future, like in the next 5, 10 years, like what do you see yourself doing? What do you see yourself accomplishing?
Well, since you know who Bernard Hopkins is, right?
Bernard Hopkins, he's a coach.
No, Bernard Hopkins is a boxer that he went
Okay.
to jail. He went to jail for over 10 years, and he became champion after he got out of jail. He became champion at 50 years old. Kind of like a
Whoa.
yeah, and he said it that he was a well preserved guy. While everybody was getting beat up and getting knocked out, he was in jail preserving his knuckles, preserving his mind. I feel like I'm the same way without going to jail. Of course, I I I gained weight, but I preserved my knuckles. I preserved my brain. I preserved my body. And I got into shape now. I'm in good condition now. Good knuckles, good brain now. So I'm ready to rock, man. I think I'll I think I'm gonna be fighting till like at least I'm 45, man. You know, and if God willing, He gives me more years, I'll keep fighting. You know, and keep coaching and keep influencing people and keep spreading my knowledge.
Wow, interesting, interesting. This you sound like Lorenzo Hunt. Uh, does he inspire you, Lorenzo Hunt?
Lorenzo Hunt inspires me to a certain extent. You know, I don't talk like Lorenzo Hunt. I'm not. Lorenzo Hunt does like to talk a lot, and but
Yeah,
he has
but
paved he has
he's quite
paved the
older,
way.
you know.
Yes, that he has paved the way for guys who are a certain amount of age, and it
Mhm.
can be done. It's a prime example of why. If you're a 40-year-old man or 38 or 45, why can't that be done? A lot of guys have the mentality of, oh, I'm old. Oh, I'm 35. I shouldn't be doing this. Why not? Why not? I think men don't hit the prime until they're 35 years old. I think that's the prime, 35, 36, 37, 38. That's the prime of your life as a man. A lot of the guys think that the prime of their life is in the 20s. That's when you're still a kid in your 20s. My thought. You know what I mean? So Lorenzo Hunt, yes, he's a champion. He's a badass. He has paved the way for a lot of us fighters. And again, a prime example of why can it be done? It could be done.
Mm. You can always bet on the
Shout
juggernaut.
out, hey,
Shout out, shout out
yeah,
to the
shout out to
juggernaut.
Lorenzo Hunt, baby. Ah, we in this.
Shout out to the juggernaut.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I should have him on the pod. Soon. He's a really really great influence, right?
a
And
great guy. I have a picture with him. He's a great guy. I took a picture with him. I think on February 2nd. I talked to him. I actually told him, "Hey, Lorenzo, I fight at 185. You know, I don't really want to fight you." and, and he's like, no, he plans to be fighting heavyweight, and he's not gonna fight at 185. I'm like, okay, man, because I got full respect. I don't want to. I'll fight anybody, but I don't want to fight you. You know.
Oh, wow, he went up to heavyweight recently to challenge the heavyweight champion, but I think he's currently holding the middleweight and the light heavyweight belts, right?
If I'm not mistaken, he vacated the light heavyweight belt because he was gonna go fight a heavyweight. And
Oh,
I don't know about the middleweight. If I'm not mistaken, Redneck Mundell, Dave Mundell has the middleweight champion. So I don't think I don't think he's a champion right now. I don't know. I'm not
oh,
mistaken. I
he
can't
had to
speak.
vacate his title, his light
Yes,
heavyweight title. Oh,
yes,
wow,
yes.
wow,
As a matter of
interesting
fact,
stuff.
June 21st, Warren versus Yomi are gonna fight for the 185 title.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Of course, I'd love to see you, climb up the rankings and get to see you fight for that strap. It'd be great.
By the
Great
by the
stuff.
by the end of this year, I have a lot of good news coming. After this fight is
Wow.
over, I have a big announcement to make, and by the end of this year, we're gonna be a full contender.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Wow. Great. Great one. Great one. I love to hear great news. When David Feldman was, on the pod, he was like, oh, there's great news coming. And all of a sudden, I heard about the collaboration with Conor McGregor. I was like, wow, great stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on the collab with Conor McGregor?
That's Conor McGregor, man. First of all, David Feldman has done an excellent job of not giving up on his promotion,
Mm.
of keep on promoting the marketing and keep on making deals all around the world. He's done a great job. Shout out to David Feldman, my boss, who signs my checks. And then the deal with Conor McGregor just puts the cherry on top. Well, how can you not like Conor McGregor? What are the Irish known for? The Irish are
For
known for
fighting
fighting. You know what I mean? So
and alcohol.
you know what I mean. I don't drink alcohol, but hey, again, the Irish are known for fighting. So I think there's a great partnership deal with Bare Knuckle. It's a great opportunity to make the company grow even more bigger. And again, the company really just started like what 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and it started with COVID and it still survived. And now is one of the growing fastest sports ever. So shout out to David Feldman and Conor McGregor, man, for really doing big things.
Interesting. Just to talk about when bare knuckle fighting started, right? So David Feldman was saying he had been pushing it about 10 years, even before it got officially sanctioned. That is, a testament to never give up on your dreams, never give up on, whatever it is that you're chasing in life. It took 10 years before he could get the very first sanctioned event. And now everybody's, talking about BKFC. You're talking about collaborations with, Conor McGregor, with Ryzen. But these things wouldn't have happened if he had given up, some way along the line.
Or also the UFC. I think the UFC Dana White offered him $200 million to sell the company.
Yes,
And
yes.
you and we all know why the UFC will offer 200 million to buy the company to kind of make UFC a monopoly. And he didn't do it. He said,
Mhm.
nah, he sees bigger, better numbers as he keeps growing. And I think David Feldman did the right thing of not selling the company to Dana White in the UFC. And we could possibly do a collab UFC versus BKFC. You know what I mean? And again, he just partnered up with Ryzen in Japan, which I really do want to fight in Japan. Japan is the culture, the crowd in Japan is a whole different atmosphere, the whole different vibe. I plan and hopefully I stay with BKFC. I love the company. I love the people in it. I love the way they promote their fighters. And hopefully he gets to see me as a way of marketing me. Sees me as, hey, I'm Murk season, I am one of the guys and I'm here to stay.
Interesting stuff. Let's talk about the UFC or MMA, right? Who would you say are your current, top 10 pound for pound fighters in MMA?
Oh man, I would say one of them is Sean Strickland. That guy's a total badass, in and out of the ring. He's a tough son of a bitch. Um, Conor McGregor, I would say he's one of them, but again, he has a lot of businesses. He kind of made it to the top, has a lot of money, and I don't know if that fighter is still with him, but he's still a great fighter. Um, I still think Fedor Emelianenko, not in the UFC, but he was undefeated for 10 years straight, fighting all hard competition from all over the world. And currently I really really don't know who's the pound for pound best fighter. John
Oh,
Jones. John Jones. That's the only
so
name that will come into mind. Because in
so it means you're
reality,
on the side of Dana White, because Dana White was saying John Jones deserves to be number one pound for pound, and
who
the
else?
current
Who else
pound for
not?
pound, yeah, the current number one is Islam Makhachev.
Yes, Islam
Yes.
Mahasiv. The thing is about Islam, I don't like his style. I don't like the when you get hit, you take him down, and you stay on him. I don't like that, and it's still a way of winning and still a way of
Smash,
fighting.
the
Yeah,
smash style, mountain wrestling.
I'm more of a bump bump, striker, but it's his style and it's winning, and it
That's
makes him
highly, highly effective.
yeah, and like just like Khabib, Khabib was undefeated for a long time, still undefeated, and his way was taking people down and ground and pounding. George St. Pierre was a little bit of a striker, but when things went south, he would take them down and ground and pound. And again, that's just the way these guys win, and that's the way I gotta respect it. Anybody that goes into a ring, I gotta respect. But that's the way of winning.
Oh, so if you were to pick your greatest of all time, top five, who would those people be? Greatest of all time,
Oh, greatest of all
MMA.
time.
Yes, I know
Oh
Fedor. I know Fedor is.
man.
I know Fedor is one of them.
That Fedor Emelianenko is one.
Ah,
Mark Hunt is two. Three. Oh man, Chuck Liddell.
Chuck
Three. Chuck
Liddell.
Liddell, Iceman. Um. Oh man, Alistair Overeem. I like Alistair Overeem.
Oh wow, I said
I like Alistair
over.
Overeem.
He had quite a
Kickboxer.
run.
Yeah. And oh man, you got me good with this one. Um. Oh, I don't know what the fifth one is, man. I again, I've been in my own world, so I will have to look up. But I gave you
Oh,
four right there.
you get me four, but then there's somebody you mentioned and you did speak highly of him just now, John Jones.
John Jones, there you go. John Jones is definitely up there, man. Again, for what he's. Oh, and I'm sorry, Lyoto Machida is one of my favorite too, man.
Oh.
And yeah, John Jones is definitely a guy that no one has been able to beat.
How about Silver, Anderson Silver?
Anderson Silva, I like him. I don't rank him as my top five, but he definitely is top 10. He was reigning of MMA for a while. I saw him in Pride when Pride was around. Um, um, Definitely a great fighter, great jiu-jitsu practitioner. And he likes to strike, he likes to bang, he likes to hit the ankles, the legs, hit the little motion. I like Anderson, but not top five. He's the top 10.
Okay, so how about Israel Adesanya?
Again, another great fighter, top 10 as well. He's still very young in his career. I don't think he's had a long career. He still has a lot to prove. But he's a great fighter mentally, spiritually. I like the way he spiritually carries himself. I've learned a lot from him spiritually wise. I have some motivational videos I always hear from him, and he's a great guy. But I think he still has a lot to prove in the sport.
Interesting. Kamaru Usman.
Kamaru Usman. Oh man, I knew when Kamaru Usman had one defeat on his record, and it was against Jose Caceres. Jose Caceres. I grew up with Jose Caceres and Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres, which is in the UFC. I don't know if you know who he is, Alex Bruce Leroy.
Oh yeah, I know Alex
I
Caceres.
grew
Yeah.
up with them. I grew up with them. I trained with them
Wow.
since they were little kids, man. We were like 14, 15 years
Bruce
old.
Leroy,
Trained Bruce
the
Leroy.
tall, lanky guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
With the afro.
yeah, his brother defeated Kamaru Usman rear naked choke on a promotion here in Miami, and he still stayed with that one loss. So Kamaru Usman definitely is a badass. But I don't put him on my top 10.
Oh, interesting, interesting. I was putting those guys because they come from the same country with me. They're from Nigeria, and I'm Nigerian as well. So, for
Nigerian,
people,
baby. My spirit actually comes from Nigeria. My yeah.
wow,
Iho, Chango. You know what I'm
wow,
saying? I know you probably heard of
wow,
Chango.
wow. Chango
Yeah.
Chango. What's that about?
It's a religion that comes out Yoruba.
Oh, yeah, I am Yoruba. Wow, interesting.
Ache. You know,
Oh, you're talking about Shango. Oh, I
Shango.
see.
Yes,
Yeah, Shango.
I
Wow,
just have a
that's the god of iron.
I just have a Hispanic way of saying it.
Oh, wow, interesting. Was it from Brazil?
No, from Nigeria.
Oh, wow, wow. Because there were some people who were taken from Nigeria to Brazil, and then they took the culture, to
Yes,
Brazil, and then they say have
we
that
all
that
we all
religion.
know that slave. The Spaniards took a bunch of people and
Hmm.
from Africa and took them to the Caribbean, to Brazil, to Mexico, to the States. And Yoruba, they had to at least the Hispanics from my culture, they had to hid it in Catholicism. I'm not a
Mm.
Catholic, but they had to hide their saints behind Catholicism saints, just so they won't get murdered and tortured.
Wow,
Yes, yes.
wow,
It has a
wow,
lot of deep meaning. But I am son of Chango, and Chango comes with me to war everywhere I go, and he does not leave me alone. Ogun
wow.
Chango.
Interesting. Wow, wow, wow. Nice, nice. That's great.
Yes,
That's
sir.
great. It's really lovely to see, people relate to the spiritual ancestry of um Africa, especially, not coming from where I come from, Yoruba, you know, Shango, that's the god of iron. I don't know if you know that he's actually the god of iron. And, Yoruba have this rich, cultural history, cultural heritage with the different deities, right? So Shango is one of them. So you are Hispanic, or like
Yes.
what's your background? And do you have an idea of how the religion was carried from Nigeria down to your own generation? Can you speak on that a little bit?
I was born in Miami, born and raised in
Hmm.
Miami, Florida. My
Hmm.
mother was born in New York with Cuban parents, and my father's from Colombia. I wasn't raised with the Colombian side of my dad. I was never raised with my dad, so I was raised more on the Cuban side. In Cuba, there's
Oh,
a
Cuba.
big,
Yeah.
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 Cubans
There's
are
a
very
big,
big on Yoruba, but
yeah, I
also
think
is
it's from the slaves that were taken from the coast of West Africa to Cuba.
yes,
Right.
Cuba is a mixture of Spaniards, Africa. It's a mixture of everything, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been watered down over the years. We understand that it's been watered down, and a lot of people like to make different phrases and different meanings of it. But I go straight to the Nigerian side, to the African side. I like to study from the African roots. And I don't like to call it a religion. It's more in tune with nature. I'm in tune in sync with the sun and with the rain, with the wind, with the air, with the trees, with the grass, with
With the
animals,
elements,
with
basically.
the elements.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people like to categorize them in a religion. Religion is a way of control. I don't like to be controlled, and this has
Mhm.
given me spiritual freedom. You know what I mean? I go out there and I soak up the sun. The sun gives me energy. It kills all my bad infections. That if you're sick, you go out there to the sun, it kills it all. The rain, people are scared of the rain. Oh, don't get wet. Why? God is in the rain. God is going to cleanse you from the rain. You go into the rain, you get wet, and you get cleaned. Don't walk barefoot. You're going to get sick. I walk barefoot. You get energy from the earth, from the ground. A lot of things that have been taught to us since a little kid is wrong. And we need to go back to our roots, the way of our ancestors. And that's just the way I've been for the past 5 years. And let me tell you, I have never been mentally ready. I've never been more spiritually ready. I had never been more physically ready than what I am now.
So, in terms of connecting to nature, does that also translate into like your nutrition as well, right? Speaking of a Q bar, do they, aside from the cultural, part of the culture is food, right? So, is there like any of the foods from Nigeria that you guys consume aside
Well,
from the
again,
religious part?
I personally never been to Cuba.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any remaining family in Cuba. Well, my grandfather was the last one to come over here in the '60s or something like that. So I don't have any family remaining in Cuba, and I haven't been there. Um, Cuba is, as we all know, is really messed up. They don't have barely any food. They got stuck to eating pork. I don't. Pork is a very forbidden meat. It's a very
Mm,
dirty meat, and I don't eat pork. Um, again, I eat clean. I eat very, very, very clean. I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat none of that American stuff. You know what I mean? I stick to eating very, very clean, as clean as I can, because everything nowadays is processed. Even the water that we drink is processed.
mm,
I don't think we can get anything that's natural over here anymore. So I just try to stay as clean as possible. I know it's not the right way as if I'm in Africa or the way it was back then, but I
mhm.
try to keep it as natural as I can. Eat a lot of fruits, a lot of just regular meat. You know what I mean? Just try to keep it very simple. Not too much of that fancy dancy stuff that they got here. No fried stuff, and just try to keep it as natural as I can. Because again, living in this country, everything is processed and everything is already watered down, and everything that we were taught as a little kid, it's all wrong.
Hmm. Interesting. Would you like to visit Nigeria someday?
Of course, yes. I heard Nigeria is also going through their causes, their bad government issues and stuff like that. But I would love to go
Definitely.
visit the motherland, man. To me, that's the motherland.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes,
Given the fact that you're very much in tune with that cultural heritage, it would be a lovely, lovely experience, and I can guarantee you, you would love it.
yes.
You probably don't want to come back.
You know what? You're not the only one. People have gone over there and they say there's something about the air. And as soon as they land, they get off of the airplane. They're like, it's
Hmm.
something about the smell. You feel like
You feel
you're
like you're
in
home.
tune. Yeah, And again, I just got my passport for my first time in my life. I never had my passport, and I'm willing to go. I'm gonna go see my dad in Colombia. I never met him. I have to go to Mexico. I was caliente Mexico for an opening in Martinez gym with one of my sponsors, buddy. And from there, I might just go to Nigeria. I might just go to Nigeria and study the real Yoruba tradition. Get the real knowledge.
Hmm. Do you know anything in Yoruba, like the language?
Ibuche, Olofi. Olofi, a lot of people tend to say, a lot of people like to call this witchcraft. And I can't stand it. A lot of people are misinformed into that. I'm not into no witchcraft. This is not witchcraft at all. Because they automatically see this and they assume that it's witchcraft. Oh my God, you no, 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 no. But I speak a lot of Olofi. Olofi is God, you know.
Oh,
Chango, Orula,
Shango.
Owatala,
Oh, Atala. Yeah.
Ogun,
Ogun,
Ochosi, Osun,
Ogun.
you
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
I again, I want to learn more. It's only been 3 years that I've been in this Yoruba, and it's changed my whole entire life, my perspective.
Oh,
I
I
believe in
see.
Yeshua. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
interesting. So you are you're Catholic, right? But then you
no,
still
no,
connect to
not Catholic, not Catholic. I'm not Catholic.
you're not Catholic. Are you
No,
Christian, or
no, I'm not
what
Christian.
what do you identify with?
I I I
The
I was raised kind of Christian, but again,
Okay.
I was a kid. I was a kid. I didn't, when you raised with a family that's telling you things, and I don't really know what's going on. So yeah, I was raised with the Christian side of the Hispanics, which was the
Okay.
fanatic side. But as you grow older, you start, studying
You
yourself. You start,
seek. Yeah, you
yeah,
seek.
you seek,
You
and things
seek
come to
knowledge.
you as signs. The universe gives you
Mm,
signs, and you got to pick it up. If the universe
mm,
gives you signs, you got to learn how to pick it up and read on it, and see what's going on, and you start making your own assessment.
mm,
And so far my life has been going according to plan. Thanks to
And
Alofi.
oh, wow, and you're more in tune with the Yoruba deities. I think I did make a misinformation earlier. You talked about Shango. Shango is a god of thunder, not the god of
God
iron.
of thunder, God of thunder,
Yeah,
yes.
Ogun is the god of
Is a god of
iron.
metal. Yes, god of
Yeah,
iron.
Ogun.
And you have the
Yeah.
Achosi, the hunter. You have the Elegua. You know what I'm saying? I have my Elegua always, and I have my
Wow.
traditions. I have my rituals. But again, nothing happens without the asking of God first. A lot of people don't understand that because God is very pure. God is so, so pure, so white that people can't understand them. So what does God does? He sends down our saints that have committed human errors, human sins, for us to learn from them. Because we can understand from a human or human saint that have committed errors, and we learn from them. We cannot learn directly from God because God is pure. God is the perfection. You know what I'm saying? Us
Hmm.
humans, we cannot be perfect. We commit sin, so we have to learn from our saints that have committed sin. You know, and yes,
Hmm.
and Shango is the god of thunder. Yes,
Interesting. We have a future champion right there. Shout out.
there you go.
Hey, future
Hey,
champ, how are you? Wow, hand speed. 100% hand speed. Wow. Keep working on it.
he's gonna have his first
Whoa.
fight in December for USA Boxing. His first amateur fight.
Oh, wow, fantastic, fantastic stuff, right? Get them young, catch them young, and we have the future champion right there. I
Yes,
said it. Always remember I said it.
yes, sir.
Wow. So before you go, like towards the end of the pod, we have a tradition, right? Wherein the current guest leaves a question for the, you know, next guest. So the last guest who left a question, she's a doctor, and then she's asking, what country would you like to travel to next?
Oh, even though I have to go to a certain country right now for an open, I would love to go to Africa. Africa.
Hmm.
There's just the ancestors.
Hmm.
Like we were just talking about it.
Hmm.
I need to go to Africa and study the real Yoruba, get in the real aspect of the real tradition. That is my
Hmm.
ultimate place to go.
Wow,
Not
interesting.
Europe, not
And of course you're
Europe.
speaking to a Yoruba boy, right? You're speaking to a Yoruba boy. I am, from the Yoruba race. So it means, you speaking to me today is not, it's not a
Listen,
coincidence, right?
everything
It's
happens
planned, it's
for a
ordained.
reason. Everything happens for a reason. And I've
Wow.
been coming to terms with that. There's a reason why you send me a message. There's a reason why I came home and I say, hold on. there's something that I had to do today, and I sent a message you right away. Everything
Mm,
happens in connection to the universe. And again,
mm.
it's been happening to me for the past 3 years. Yoruba has
Wow.
opened up my doorways, and a lot of people think it's certain thing. It's God. God is sending all of this. There's a reason for all this, my man.
Interesting. I'll try to hook you up with, Yoruba lessons, try to to get you deeper into accessing your Yoruba roots, your Yoruba ancestries. That's a fantastic one. So, in Africa, aside from Nigeria, which other countries, tickle your fancy?
The what?
Like in Africa, right? Aside from going to Nigeria, what other countries do you like in Africa? Do you think you'd like to also see in Africa?
Well, I mean, Nigeria is being one of them because it's the west side is where Europe has, was the regions of it. But you also have the whole Congo side. You have the Moroccan side where I yeah.
Interesting. Morocco is quite an interesting place. I was there last year.
Very nice,
Yeah,
very
nice place.
I can't even say it.
Ivory Coast?
The agriculture, the culture, the texture, the way the buildings are built,
Oh yeah, the architecture is different and
architecture. I'm sorry,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very nice. I also would like to go to Rome, Italy. It's a
Oh.
place where I think a lot of African gladiators, Roman gladiators, a lot of people, a lot of slaves that had to fight for their freedom were placed there. I feel like there's a lot of bloodshed that was shed there, just because of the evil emperors, the evil Caesars that were ruling over there, and they brought slaves over there to entertain the crowd. You know what I mean? And I feel a lot of Africans and I feel a lot of Romans themselves were brought there for their death, but they also had to fight for their life, to fight for their family and fight for their freedom. That's
Interesting. Interesting. Before I let you leave a question for the next guest, I want to ask you one last question, right? And it's not basically a question, it's a request. What is your advice for young up and coming people, as a big brother of some sort or an uncle, right? So give advice to young people watching this podcast today. Like, what life advice would you like to give them on a general note?
Be a good person, man. Be a good person. Be a better person for society. And it's not be a good no. Be a good person for your wife, your mother, your sister, your brother, your son, your daughter. Being a good person overall changes your heart, changes your mind. Don't chase money. Money is evil. Don't chase materialistic things. That's evil and makes you worship things that bring evil to your life. Be a good person. And when you become a good person, everything comes to you. Everything that you
Mm,
desire will come to you. You gotta start thinking outside of the box and not what you taught. And being a better person overall. Every day you wake up, you have a chance to be a better person. Do that. If you have an extra dollar, give it to somebody that needs it. Don't complain about money because money comes and goes. The more you complain about money, the more money issues you're gonna have. If you have a chance to give that person a shirt, take your shirt off and give it to that person. You'll get two more shirts for that. So it's just contributing to society the way people don't want to. People are very selfish. People are very into themselves, and I don't like that. It makes me sad. It really does. So whenever I have a chance to help somebody out, whether it be a dollar here or a shirt or my shoes or my socks or sleep in my house for a day or two until you be a better person for everybody. It makes you feel better. And not just that, it helps out the people, it helps out the world.
hmm. Great, great, great words of advice right there. So, what would be your question for the next guest to answer?
That's a good one, man. What question? What question? What martial art will you choose to better yourself?
Oh
Would it
wow.
be boxing? Would it be jujitsu? Would it be Muay Thai? What culture, what martial art you are willing to go? Because jujitsu has a Brazilian Japanese art. Muay Thai
Mhm.
has more of a Thailand Philippine art. Boxing has more of an American Western art to it. So which culture, which martial art would you adapt to be a better person?
Interesting. I like that. I like that. I like that. Um, there's this thing I usually ask fighters anytime they're on. I think I forgot to ask you. When it comes to mixed martial arts, right? For me, I feel like the top three disciplines you need to be successful in mixed martial arts are wrestling, Muay Thai, and BJJ, that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. For you, what do you think?
Yes, the same. I think you need to be. I think you need to have a good boxing game. I think if you can throw fast 1-2, you can stun them because a lot of guys they drop their hands and leave their face open. Boxing is one. Wrestling is second because most of the fights end on the floor. You need to learn how to be on top and control the situation. And of course, when you're on the floor, you need Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I think boxing kickboxing you can always learn kickboxing and Muay Thai, but I think boxing has a good foundation mixed with wrestling and jiu-jitsu. You need to have those three to kind of yeah to
Oh
be an
wow.
all-around martial artist. But of course,
Yeah,
you need to know everything. You know.
definitely, definitely. So, before you go, who would you like to give a shout out to before you go?
Oh man, shout out to all my sponsors. Shout out to Buddy's Cable. Shout out to all the people that have believed in me and that showing me love and support. I and the people. I'm never above, never below. I'm just right here with my people. I'm always gonna fight for the people. That's always gonna be me. I'm never gonna change. And thank you for the people, man, that they show me love and support, man. I'm always gonna be here with y'all. Never gonna change. Money will never change me. Nothing will ever change me. Nothing in this fake world will ever change me. I'm always gonna be for the people.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Murk, for being on the podcast today. It's been a really, really great session. I appreciate you. It's been great having you. And of course, it's the end of the recording for today.